This is a nice little walk that we're on here.
Yeah, it is. I've never been here before. But definitely like very dense thicket. Would that be the proper scientific term?
Yeah, I don't think I'd want to go in there.
No, I feel like a lot of stuff could be hiding out there.
That reminds me of something. There's, up in the UP, there's this thing called the Dog Man.
I'm sorry, what?
The Dog Man. So back in 1987, this guy, Steve Cook, he was a DJ in Traverse City. And he wrote this song and like made up the Dog Man. He says, I made it up, it's all fake. Put it on the radio for April Fool's Day.
Okay, excellent.
But what he didn't expect was people started calling in saying that they saw the Dog Man.
Ooh, that's a plot twist.
I know. So this was 1987. He had, one person said they saw him, the Dog Man, back in the 30s, where he came upon a bunch of wild dogs, and he shot his rifle in the air. And all the dogs scattered except for one, who stood up on its hind legs to about 7 feet tall.
Oh, I don't like that.
And looked at him, and then like went away. So then there were some lumberjacks back in 1887.
Ooh, further back.
Right, that saw a body. It was a man's body with a dog's head. And then, so that's the first like serious report.
Well, do we know anything about like the context here? Like
not really.
What they were doing?
No, they were lumberjacks, so I'm assuming they were cutting down trees. But
in the forest.
I don't know. Yeah. But there are actually reports that like French fur traders way back like in the early 1800s saw animals like this. So Stephen Cook, the guy that made it up, he still is very skeptical. He thinks people are just also making it up, but makes you wonder.
It does.
Whew.
It's very curious.
Yeah.
But like no one's been attacked by this dog man or anything like that?
They say that he attacks every 10 years or so, and it's always on a date ending in 7.
Okay.
So like 87, well 87 twice. There was a 2007 claim, but that turned out to be a hoax. Oh,
okay. Shocker.
And I looked and I couldn't find any information on 2017.
Ooh.
But I'm just glad that right now it's 2021 and not 2027.
Yeah, we got a good 6 years or so before we have to hide out for a year. Yeah, just avoid the woods.
Yes, and we'll not be taking any walks in the woods. Yeah. Oh man, there's some litter up there.
Oh, why do people do that? It's so easy to just throw it away. Should pick it up a second. Wait, is that a picture?
It is. What?
Why does it say Shannon?
That,
Shannon, why does it say your name?
That is creepy. And it even looks exactly like me.
Exactly like you. That is a perfect likeness right there. Are you just going to take that home?
Well, yeah, I'm going to take it home. Of course, it's a self-portrait.
It's beautiful, but very creepy.
It is creepy. Why?
Yeah, I'm not loving that.
In the woods.
It's got to just be like a. There are a lot of people named Shannon, right?
Yeah,
it's a common name.
It's not me. Even though it looks like me, it's probably not me.
Probably not.
I mean,
I wouldn't think so.
It doesn't even have a nose, so I mean, it's not super detailed.
And I do have a nose.
So it's probably some faceless Shannon.
Yeah, exactly.
Walking around somewhere. Okay. But after that Dog Man story, though, I'm a little creeped out by that.
Yeah, that's true. Speaking of creepy stories, though, also speaking of French fur traders, so I heard this story. I am very confused by it. Okay. But supposedly, back in like colonial era times, up in like northern Michigan, I think like super northern Michigan, like UP type area, supposedly 3 like fur traders were found missing their heads, and the people who found them said that it was like this giant wolf-like creature.
How do they know?
It's a great question. I feel like really they probably just like murdered them and then just made up a story, but you know, you never know.
Sure.
But anyway, apparently there's like a Native American legend from like northwestern Canada and like Alaska area about like a giant spirit wolf that is known for removing people's heads. But when I read that, I couldn't find like it linked to any particular tribe, so I'll have to keep looking into that to figure out exactly what they're talking about. But then there was this like zoologist, I think he was, in like the 60s or 70s. Don't know what's going on in like that era with people just making stuff up. But he coined this term wahila, and said that like that's what it was that like I don't know if he said that that's what it was that killed the fur traders, or if other people have just made that connection. But it's supposed to be like just like this giant wolf thing. I think like its shoulder is like comes up to like 4 feet, so like around here.
Oh wow!
So I would not want to encounter that.
No, like so like walking on 4s.
Yes.
Its shoulder.
Yes.
Yikes!
Like that is much
that would
larger
put its
than we
head
are.
way up here.
Yeah, would not. Does not, unless it's friendly. Then that would be very fun to ride on like a horse. But I feel like, you know, if it's known for removing heads,
people,
it's probably
it's
not
probably
very
not
friendly. It does make you wonder what it's doing with the heads, though.
Were the heads not with the bodies?
I don't think so. It said the story
my.
said that they were missing their heads.
Ooh.
So like it
Yikes.
sounds like they were unaccounted for.
Oh.
But anyway, so modern like cryptozoologist people kind of look at that story and say that like this Wahila creature sounds like a bear dog. Have you ever heard of bear dogs?
No, I mean I've heard of dog men.
Yes, this
but not bear dogs.
A lot of different like hybrids apparently. But yeah, bear dogs were like a real thing. They were prehistoric carnivorous land mammals.
Huh.
Yeah, you can Google it. Google prehistoric bear dog.
Okay.
Pictures are very interesting.
Are they interesting, or are they more like terrifying?
A little bit of both. I feel like some of the pictures they like kind of look cute. And then other ones they look like the stuff of nightmares.
Okay.
So yeah, do with that what you will.
Maybe I won't Google that.
Yeah, maybe not. But they lived like over 5 million years ago.
Okay.
Possibly more than that. They lived in the Miocene era, but I don't know scientific time periods very well.
I've never heard of that era, so.
Yes, it is post-dinosaur, but pre-human.
Okay.
I believe supposedly around this time there were apes that started walking on 2 feet, if that helps you conceptualize time period. But they went extinct long ago, but some people claim that secretly maybe they didn't. So,
that they didn't become extinct? That
yes,
maybe they're
that
still around?
somehow some of them have survived and are maybe living up north somewhere. So really just don't go up north.
That sounds good. I
that
like
sounds
the Lower
dangerous.
Peninsula. I like the lower part of Lower Peninsula.
Yeah, less human eating animals.
Because the dog man is up in the northern part of the Lower Peninsula.
Yeah.
So yes, so far what I've learned on our walk here is to stay in the Grand Rapids area.
Yep, that seems safe. But okay, you know Hannah over from Wyoming.
Sure.
Yeah.
I haven't talked to her in a long time.
That's a really good point. She hasn't been in our meetings recently.
No.
Neither has Monica. Monica also hasn't answered my emails.
That's really strange.
They're probably fine, right? They're busy people.
I would think so, but they usually, Monica likes to connect with people.
Oh, she does. She does like to email.
She does.
Yeah.
She uses a lot of exclamation points. Gosh, I hadn't realized. It's been a long time since I saw all those exclamation points.
Yeah, we should check in with them after this walk, probably.
Yeah, we should send them an email or a text or something.
Well, anyway, yes. So before coming to work at KDL, Hannah worked out west in California doing archaeological surveys.
Wow, I didn't know that.
I know, right? I do not know much about her life pre-KDL, but I feel like I have a lot of questions now. I don't know how you go from that to librarian, but I love it.
Well, and she's not that old. Like, how did she have time to get all big?
She's secretly a vampire
I guess.
who has lived for many years. Yeah. But she was out like in the forest, in the mountains, with a team doing surveys around like Donner Pass area. And they would go out like as a group, but they would each have like their own kind of plot that they were surveying. So they'd be like hundreds of like feet away from each other
so like a
as
big
they're working.
Plot.
Yes, yeah. So she's working middle of the woods and she hears like really loud footsteps coming towards her very quickly. So you're in the woods and just kind of out there alone and you're hearing like giant footsteps.
Let's take a rest.
Yep, I like that.
Continue your story.
Wait, what is that? Over to your right, yeah.
It's dice.
Yeah, it looks like D&D dice to me.
Why would there be D&D dice out here?
That is a great question. Maybe a outdoor game?
On a bench in the middle of
park?
a trail.
I feel like those are expensive though. Someone's gonna be missing those.
Well, I'm gonna put them in my pocket and we can see if we can, if there's a lost and found or something somewhere.
Yeah, perfect.
So anyway,
You know, those do kind of look like some that Hannah have.
Really?
Yeah.
She plays D&D too?
I think so, yeah.
Wow, she is a multifaceted person, much like these dice.
Exactly like the dice.
So she was surveying.
Yeah. Okay, so she's doing the survey. She hears these loud footsteps like coming up behind her, and like middle of the woods mountain, like first thought is, oh my gosh, there is a bear coming towards me, and I'm all alone.
Not a bear dog.
Not a bear dog. But she like turns around quickly towards like the sound, and then is relieved because she's like, oh, it's just a deer. Like, that's nice. But it was like a buck, so like male deer, very large. And her relief quickly went away when she realized that this deer was staring right at her and charging right at her, and was not stopping. Here she is alone, and she just starts yelling. I don't know if that's actually what you're supposed to do when a bear or when a deer is charging you, or if it was just like pure instinct. But she just starts yelling as loud as she can, and it stops. Like, that works. And it just stares at her and does like the classic like deer like, and then just like walks away.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Deer are very peaceful when they're like
far away
yeah, across the field. But if one was running at me with the big old antlers, like,
no, yeah,
that would freak me out.
So thankfully she ended up being fine. But like they started back to the car. Like, she met up with her teammates at the car to drive off the mountain, you know. And she was mentioning this to like her coworker who was like working the closest to her, and this woman like hadn't heard anything.
Oh my goodness. So the deer had like gored her.
She'd just, you know, be slowly bleeding out.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, terrifying. Hannah's moral of the story to that is deer are just as terrifying as bears are. I feel like the moral of the story is nature just wants to kill you. Like, don't go out alone.
I don't know that we should be telling these kind of stories when we're out in nature.
We're gonna die, Shannon.
I'm a little nervous.
Something's gonna come out of the woods.
Well, I've got something else you can find in the woods. This one's a little bit sillier. I don't think it's quite as scary, but it's interesting. There's this town in Montcalm County, actually, and it's called Amble.
Okay.
All right. And
lovely name for a town. That sounds very peaceful.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, and on top of that, there's only like 18 people that live there.
Ooh, does that count as a town?
I mean, I guess.
I feel like it's like a commune.
Maybe.
That's pretty small.
But they have a bar, and they have a church, and they have a cemetery.
Wow, all the things anyone could need.
Exactly. But
got
they also
all of your
have
needs covered right there.
a legend.
Ooh, excellent.
About a squirrel.
Okay.
Okay. And it's a giant squirrel.
Even better.
It's called, well, I mean, they call it the giant squirrel of Amble, which is not,
classic.
Not
very
super
clear description.
Creative, but it gets the point across.
You know what you're about to hear about, kind of, yeah.
So the squirrel only comes out at night when people are most likely to be have had a couple.
I see.
And only when it's really dark and the moon is a sliver, like an almond sliver, because squirrels are super into nuts.
Do squirrels like almonds?
I don't know.
I feel like we need to do an experiment. I have a lot of squirrels by my house. Should we try to feed them some almonds?
Eat some almonds at them and see what they do.
Also, what exactly, like, you say almond sliver, and I'm picturing the thing you get like in a bag at the grocery store. Like, those are kind of shaped like that. But I feel like the moon is never shaped like that.
I don't know.
I'm very curious. I'll have to Google this.
We'll have to buy some almond slivers and see if we can find one that looks like the moon.
And then we'll feed them to the squirrel.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
So anyway, the people that see the squirrel, they say its eyes are either red or yellow or blue or brown.
A lot of options.
Yes.
Maybe several squirrels.
Maybe.
Just a whole family.
And the sizes vary from the size of a small cow, which is still a big squirrel.
That's a pretty big squirrel.
To the size of a Buick.
Oh.
Which is an even bigger squirrel.
Interesting. Okay.
But here's the kicker. This giant squirrel, whose chitters can be heard through canyons, apparently. You can hear it chittering sometimes.
Do we have canyons in Michigan?
Apparently in Amble.
We've really got to go there. We got to find out what's happening there.
Maybe just when somebody was describing it one day, they were like, and a chitter could be heard across the canyon. Maybe it was just somebody.
Just a nice dramatic effect.
Waxing poetic.
Yeah, I love it. Love it.
But here's the kicker. This squirrel, this giant squirrel, is green. Like its fur, green.
What? Are they seeing a hill? Like,
That's a good question. A hill with eyes?
yeah.
Ooh, the hills
with
have
red
eyes. That's a movie.
Ooh, must be truth to it then.
Maybe.
Movies don't lie.
And I don't know if it looks like it's dyed its fur green, or if it's maybe
maybe it was purposeful. Yeah.
or maybe
Aesthetic
like
choice.
it's moss, like on a sloth.
Ooh,
Sometimes
yes.
look green because of the moss. But that
Intriguing.
is the green squirrel of Ambo.
Okay, I really, really love squirrels. And so hearing this story, I can't decide if this is the most terrifying thing I've ever heard in my life. And I might like die of a heart attack if I saw it, or if like this is my new bucket list item. Like we're going to Amble and finding the giant squirrel.
Do we have to have a couple first?
I'm sure we can make that happen. We're over 21.
We are
We're
over
adults.
21 because only people over 21 should be having a couple.
Exactly. Or even just one.
Or yes.
But yeah, this is incredible. This story, yeah, I feel like my life is not going to be complete until I see the squirrel.
I would love to see the squirrel. If only the squirrel was in Grand Rapids.
Oh, that's what Grand Rapids is missing, a giant green squirrel. Maybe we'll get one.
That would be cool.
Maybe we can take one of the family members.
If there are as
Maybe
many
they'll agree to
squirrels
relocate.
as the story.
Which one do we want? Can we have the one with red eyes?
Ooh, I want the smaller one. I want the one that's the size of a small cow.
That does sound adorable, and I really want to hug a squirrel that's that size.
Yes.
Like a friendly one, though.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Totally like switching gears here.
Okay.
Just another weird story. But you know Jenny, who works over at the East Grand Rapids branch?
Sure, yeah.
So she told me this story about her husband. He grew up really close to Cannonsburg ski area, which I think is over by you in Rockford, right?
Yeah, that is. That's right near Rockford.
Okay, yeah, so his family like owned several acres. So it was his birthday party, and he had like 10 friends over to celebrate. My guess is at this time they were like somewhere between like 8 and 12 years old, but that's just a guess. Don't quote me on that.
All right.
But it was
No
1996.
96.
Yes,
Okay.
96. And he and his friends like went outside to go play after like having cake and all that. And they were like far away from the house because remember like several acres of land here.
Sure.
And they were like walking towards like the tree line. So they were kind of in a clearing, but like going into the forest. And when they were like 50 feet or so away from the tree line, all of a sudden something like came up out of the trees. And this was like 200 feet away from them probably.
Not like a giant squirrel though.
Not a giant squirrel.
Okay.
No, this was a UFO, an unidentified flying object. Classic viewing. It was like really large and like oval shaped.
Okay.
And he said it rose like completely silently out of the woods, and then it just hovered there completely silently for like 30 seconds.
And he's the only one that saw this, right?
No. All the kids saw this.
What?
All of them, yeah. And they said that it felt like the UFO was like looking at them, like watching them, like sizing them up, trying to figure out like who they were, what they're doing there, like were they a threat?
That's
and
terrifying.
then it's terrifying, utterly terrifying. And then all of a sudden this UFO just like disappeared, like it flew off like diagonally into the clouds. And he said that it was like incredibly fast, like it was almost like instantaneous, and the entire time completely silent.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and to this day, like it's 24-ish years later, like they still talk about this story, and all of them like remember it. I mean, it'd be hard to forget that, but
that would be super. Oh,
yeah.
You said 1996.
Yes, 96.
This is so weird, but I was in college in 1996. And I don't know, it might have been 1997, but it was right around that same time. I was walking home from a night class.
Okay.
This is so weird. And I looked up and I saw an airplane. It had 4 lights, and it was just traveling across the sky like an airplane. But then while I was looking, the 4 lights separated from each other and all did like a separate like loop-de-loop.
What?
And I thought to myself,
Like separate flying objects.
right, like separate lights.
Yeah.
And I was like, airplanes don't usually do that. That's weird.
Yeah.
And I've always remembered it. There was nobody else around to corroborate.
Yeah.
Weird that it's that same time frame.
Yeah. Do you remember what time of year it was?
I want to say it was chilly out, but I'm not positive about that.
Okay, because Jenny's husband's birthday is in the winter, I think.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I
You
wonder.
may have seen aliens.
I may have.
That's exciting. Do you believe in aliens?
I believe there's got to be something out there somewhere. Because, I mean, the universe is very large.
That's true. That is
I don't know if I believe aliens have been here. But I think there's probably some out there somewhere. More litter.
Whose shirt is just lying in the middle of the woods?
I don't know, but it's
like
a
that seems like a
shirt.
weird thing. What?
It's a
wait, it's this year's
Summer
shirt.
Wonder shirt.
Yeah, we like just got these.
Yeah,
like
there's
this
even
week.
Folded lines in it still.
That seems really strange. KDL people, man, they are not giving us a good rap when it comes to.
I can't believe a KDL person came out and like just left this here.
And it's like laid out nicely. But I don't think we should just leave it here though.
No, probably not, because the park ranger people might.
And they'll know who left it.
They will. You can track that back, at least at this point.
Can send out an email or something, see who needs a shirt.
What size is it? Oh yeah, that's not gonna fit me. Oh well. You could maybe wear it as a night shirt.
Perfect.
Nobody wants it.
Excellent. Weird.
It is. Well, you know, like in the same vein as aliens, I was just thinking, I was talking to my coworker Ann the other day. And she was telling me about when she was living in Dansville in the 70s. She was a teenager. And apparently during that time, there was a whole bunch of Bigfoot sightings.
No.
Yeah. So like one person she knew, they just could hear him and see him. One of her neighbors had him walk in front of their car, and they literally did not speak for 3 days. They were so terrified.
What? Oh my goodness.
So they saw this thing, and Anne, one day she was out in her backyard, and she lived near a swampy area. She heard like this moan, growl, yowl thing.
Oh, I don't like that.
Swamp area, and she didn't see anything, but the sound was so terrifying to her, she froze in place for a few minutes. And then she finally unfroze and ran in the house and locked all the doors.
Seems like the right move to make.
Yeah, absolutely. And then she said after a few months, nobody saw, there was no more sightings, and they just assumed that the Bigfoot had moved on.
I do not know what to think of that.
I don't either. I've never seen an actual Bigfoot before. I've seen like, you know, fake Bigfoots that sometimes people put out in their yards, but I've never seen.
Speaking of fake Bigfoots though, there was this guy, I read this article like a year ago maybe, but there was this guy from Dansville who when he was a teenager, I don't know how old he is, he's retired now, so I don't know if it was around the same time that like Anne experienced this, but he went out to help his neighbor calm down his horses because they were startled by something. And so he went out there and they found these huge footprints. They were like 6 inches, like each footprint was 6 inches, and then they were like, oh no, 15 I think. I think it was 15, that's not that, that's not long. That is half a foot, that is very small. They were 15 inches, so a little over a foot, but then they were 6 feet apart, like each
Oh wow.
step. So like that would be a,
I
like
can't even
huge
do that.
Creature.
Oh
but
my.
he didn't recognize like any of the prints.
Was it like a shoe footprint or like a foot?
That I don't know. He did not go into detail. But he's never been able to forget that. Doesn't know what it was. And now in his retirement, because he's a woodworker, so he makes a lot of stuff out of wood, he made one of those cutouts and he put it, like he painted it all black, and then he put it like by his house, like by his driveway, like coming out of the woods, and he just like watches like drivers as they like slow down to like see what it is, or like sometimes he'll see them like circle back to get a second look. So that's a pretty good hobby right there.
Oh, that's cool. Does he make them to sell at all?
That I don't know. In the article, it said that he was interested in doing that.
Okay.
But I have not followed up to see if I could find one.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, there was a similar story actually from Rockford, I believe,
Oh.
of this guy who made one for his apartment building and put it out, but then that night there were like these huge thunderstorms, and I think the police were like getting calls from people seeing like a Yeti-like creature like walking through, and then it just turned out that it was just this Bigfoot cutout that he had made.
Did the police make him take it down?
Ooh, I don't know. I'm curious. I should look up, figure that out.
Oh, look at that, the sun came out.
Oh, that's very nice.
Yeah.
Definitely makes it feel like a little less sinister.
It does.
In the woods when
It
the
does.
sun's
That along with
going.
the t-shirt makes me think about Summer Wonder coming up.
Oh yeah.
That starts in June, right?
Yeah, it
the
does. Wow,
beginning of
we're
June?
close to June.
We are.
That is
There's
less than a month away.
That's a little scary for us librarians.
It
That's
is.
a lot of work.
Yeah, a lot of stuff to prep.
But it's going to be the same as like most years as far as what like kids will read.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to reading too.
Yeah. Oh, I love
it when we
yeah.
do reading programs. And last one was Let It Snow, which ended
Yeah,
months
ended
ago.
at the end of March.
Yeah. So I'm
and
looking
they
forward
can-
for another one.
They can read a little bit, and I think they keep adding stuff every year. Like they can write stuff that
Yeah.
counts, and like
There are different
maybe like
activities.
STEAM stuff.
Oh
STEAM
yeah, I
is the
think that
big
we're
thing.
supposed to have a lot of those.
Yeah.
Yeah. Should be
I
pretty fun.
don't know what the prizes are going to be this year, but
I don't either.
I bet there's going to be some pretty good like
Yeah.
prizes. You know, in the past there's been like the iPads and
Yeah, like the drawings.
yeah,
Very, very exciting. Yeah. That'll be a good time.
it will.
And we have these super cool t-shirts. Did you get the
Yeah.
blue one or the green one?
I got both.
Me too, I couldn't decide.
I couldn't either.
It's
I
just
got
easier
both.
to, yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited for Summer Wonder to start. I was just going to say something and I forgot now.
That's all right.
Oh, I know what it was. Most of our programs this summer, though, are going to be online.
Yes.
But there's going to be like a couple here and there that'll be
Yeah, maybe some
in
outdoor
person.
stuff,
Yeah,
depending on what branch people go to.
right. I know
Yeah.
our branch is going to have some story times, which
Ooh, okay.
they probably won't be teens at those, but
You never know. Picture books are lovely.
they are.
Sometimes you just need a nice picture book read to you. So,
Yes.
yeah.
I enjoy picture books myself.
So who does story times over at your branch?
Both myself and Melissa. And Melissa's
Okay.
going to do the outdoor ones.
Okay, nice. Got some good books picked out?
I don't know if she's picked out the books. She's got some little soccer like cones to put out so that people, you know, socially distance
Oh, that's clever.
outside. So she'll
Yeah.
have the cones, and she got a voice amplifier so that people can hear her. So
Classic, lovely.
she's going to do it twice in the week. She's going to do the same thing on Wednesday mornings and on Friday mornings so that you can spread out the
Nice.
families.
That's smart, yeah. Yeah, we are not doing story times over at Granville, but we are going to have some fun stuff outside, possibly at the park, because we're in the middle of construction right now. So
Oh yeah.
very limited space over at Granville, but we'll have some fun stuff this summer, I think. But I really like that we get to take a walk for work in nature, and so
That is
far have
nice.
not been murdered by dogmen, bear dogs, Bigfoots. Although, okay, here's the thing. Have there ever been any stories about Bigfoots? I'm assuming you can make, how do you make that plural? Big
I don't-
feet? Or
I think
Bigfoots?
it's Bigfoots. I think.
Bigfoots?
Yeah, a big
Like
foot
it.
has big feet.
That is true.
But
I
I
like
think-
that. Okay, yep. So, but have we ever heard stories of like a Bigfoot attacking someone?
No, I haven't. I always assumed a Bigfoot just kind of was chilling in the woods, living his best life.
Yeah.
Maybe with a Mrs. Bigfoot.
Ooh,
I mean, they
or
get
Mr. Bigfoot, we don't know.
right.
Just a nice Bigfoot family.
they
Big
get
feet
seen all
family?
over the country. I can't imagine he's traveling all over the place like that.
I don't know. That sounds like kind of a nice nomadic lifestyle. Just
True.
but he has lived for a long time. So either he lives for an extraordinary amount of time, I feel like, or there is more than one.
Ah.
Yeah,
See, I
Bigfoot
always
Jr.
imagine Bigfoot is like Harry from Harry and the Hendersons, that movie.
I have not seen that
You've not
movie.
seen it.
I
It's
have
a-
not heard of that movie.
It's an older movie. I want to say it came out in like the late 80s, early 90s.
Okay.
But I highly recommend it. It's a funny movie.
Ooh.
Basically, the Hendersons are driving along,
Uh-huh.
and Harry, who's basically a Bigfoot, they don't call him Bigfoot, but
Okay.
they accidentally hit him with their car.
Ooh.
And then
that's
they
not
feel bad because he's a human type person.
Uh-huh.
And so they take him home, and hilarity ensues.
Ah, all
Because he
right.
doesn't know how to live in a house. He's a Bigfoot.
Yeah, that's true. Probably not used to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will have to look that up.
Yeah. We'll look that up after we try to contact Hannah and Monica.
Oh, I forgot
Now I'm
about
a little
that.
worried about them.
Yeah,
Especially because they went on that walk they went on a walk, didn't they?
yeah, in the middle of the night, which seems ill-advised.
And they were in the woods.
Yeah.
And now we've talked about all these some kind of scary things. Ugh.
Yeah,
I'm a
have
little-
you, yeah, I haven't heard from them since then, I don't think.
Me neither.
It's
You
been
would think they would have sent out an email if like something bad happened though, right?
I mean, yeah, like
KBL
if they
would have
just
let
like
us know.
stopped showing up to work, I feel like people would have noticed.
Right.
They're not quiet people.
They are not quiet. What the heck is that?
You're finally here!
Speaking of,
Speak of the devils.
what are
They
you
were hanging out
doing
with
here?
John Cena.
We've been hanging out!
Wow.
Wait, for how long? We were just talking about how we haven't heard from you in months.
We're glad you can make it. Yeah!
Oh
Have
my
you just
goodness.
been living out in,
And you have Claire here too. Holy.
just have some nice flowers?
Beautiful flower arrangement.
This
I mean,
is
this
an
is a
interesting
very-
setup here.
Yeah.
Marshmallows for you.
Do you,
Settle on in, make yourself comfy. Yeah.
do you,
Uh-huh.
wait, do you live here?
Okay.
Maybe.
All right.
All right.
Sounds good to me.
I don't want to go back to work right now. Ooh. Wow,
Yeah, I
this
could
is
use
a
a
lot of
breather after
options. Ooh.
Help yourself.
Oh.
Oh my goodness.
And John Cena's got
Wow.
some nice biceps
Beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
Just living the dream up here.
Here.
Yeah.
Safety first.
Yeah.